Yeah, so welcome back again. Yeah, so if somebody is cutting my hair, taking my personal belongings, what are they doing with it? I know it's a trade off a stalker as well, but it can also be used for other things. In the African culture, we believe in spirituality. I believe in spirituality. It exists. I think before this whole ordeal, I didn't really believe in it, but now I know it exists. And so somebody taking my personal belongings, what are they doing with it? Hair, fingernails. What are they doing with it? That's rituals. So that's my first theory. Either voodoo rituals and not necessarily voodoo sounds very negative or not even negative because when we say voodoo, people associate it with something negative. Voodoo can also be something positive. It's a religion for some people. So they are doing rituals. Let me just say rituals. And then another theory that I have is what if it's not human, what I'm dealing with? What if it's not human? And that sounds so far fetched, but I know it's not just us because of if you pay attention to the world that we live in, it's not just us. A lot of things are not right. And I will give you an example. In 2018, I had on 3 occasions I experienced a shift in our world, in our design. So I back in 2018, I was working for this law firm and I had a ritual going. I was working as a contractor for this law firm, and back then it was pre-COVID. So you go into the office and you had your daily habits, daily rituals that you do. You get up, you pray, you take a shower, you get dressed, you do your makeup, and then in my case, I'm out of the door. I go into the office and I have a route that I take. It's the same route every day. Right now, I will not do that because of what I'm going through. But before that, I was taking the same route every day. It's the same route to the tube station, or in my case, was the overground because of where I lived back then. Um, I will take the same route to the overground station, and from there, I will take the overground. I will go from Surrey Keys to Canada Water, and from Canada Water, I will change to the tube, take the Jubilee line, and then to my office. That was what I was doing for a whole year. So the first time I noticed, I came to the station, and normally where I stand to get into the tube had changed. It was a slight change. It was like I will come from the escalator and then I will stand right next to the escalator. But in this case, I took the same escalator, but instead of the escalator being right where it was supposed to be, it wasn't. It had shifted whereby I had to walk a bit before I could stand next to the escalator. Odd. And I felt like, hey, something has changed. Also, all of a sudden, that section where I normally stand is a one-way entry. So it's like one single door instead of double door. But in that situation, it had changed into a double door with a handicap sticker placed on there. Is that the right word? Handicap, disability sticker for people in wheelchairs placed on there. So it was like a double door. And if you know the Jubilee line, if you have ever been in London, Canada Water Station, it's a fixed terminal because it has panels to prevent people from going directly to the track or accessing the train unless those panels have been opened. So it's fixed. So if I'm standing at one entry door, that door can't be changed overnight, that it change into a double door all of a sudden. But in this situation, I noticed that it had changed. And I wrote about it in my diary. I have the diary, it is locked up somewhere, but I have it. I wrote about it. And I was so flabbergasted like, hey, has the station changed? So I asked one of the station workers, like, did they do some work overnight? And she said, no, not that she's aware of it. And then I went to the next station where I would normally get off to change for my, because I worked at Moorgate. And so I will have to change. My next stop is London Bridge. So I went to London Bridge, the same thing where I would normally get off. And then I will walk just like a couple of meters, and then I will have to turn to the right to go to take the steps to get to the Northern Line. And again, this time when I got out, I had to walk longer than I would normally do to get to the station. So I make mental note of it. I'm like, that's odd. Everything has changed. From my normal station where I got in to London Bridge to where I had to get off, everything had changed by a few centimeters or meters that I had to walk more. And the next day, it was back to normal. It was back to normal, single door and everything. 3 months later, the same thing happens again. And then I'm like, this is not normal. It feels as if I am in a different dimension or a different universe. And so then I started searching for CERN, HARP, DARPA. And then I started reading about it, and then I came across other conspiracy platforms that were discussing things, how they can manipulate certain situations. And people were discussing about how they make changes and then they don't write the same code. So there is a difference, there is a shift. And for some reason, I had been, I don't know, I don't consider myself a special person or anything else, but I am very spiritual. I'm very intuitive. That's something that I have been since I was a child, highly intuitive and spiritual as well, because I process a lot in my dreams, which also turns out to become reality most of the time. And so when I noticed that, I'm like, no, I have to document this. So again, this time I noted it again in my diary. And then for a couple of months, it was normal. And then months later, the same thing happened again. Like, no. So I think I posted something when somebody was talking about, I can't remember which video, but somebody was talking about it. And then I posted, I had this experience 3 times in a row. It was so odd. So I don't know, but I think there is something there. Something is not right. And obviously, once you go into that, you get into the rabbit hole, then you come across this Mandela effect. Mandela effect, I know, for example, with Sex and the City, how they say it was Satch from the beginning. I know it wasn't because I was a huge Sex and the City fan